Hey guys, me here again. I'm with my buddy Skyrush Warrior from YouTube.
How y'all doing?
Today we are going to be here to review Kings Island in Ohio, owned by Cedar Fair. And let me say, actually, this was actually one of the better Cedar Fair chains that I visited, besides like Cedar Point. Better than Carowinds. I think better than
Thorny Park.
Oh, Thorny Park.
Yeah.
See, it's so bad I can't even remember the name.
Thorny Park does not compare to this at all. I mean, Kings Island was definitely up there. Although, you know, not a perfect park though. I just want to start that off. You know, we'll get into the details and nitty gritty, but it was definitely a fun visit. But there are some flaws.
There are some flaws, yes. But let's go over the basics of the park. First, I want to talk about the atmosphere. Now, the atmosphere of Kings Island is actually one of the better atmospheric parks. Actually, I was very surprised how much I loved the atmosphere of Kings Island because, you know, I spoke to a few other people who are Ohio natives, and, you know, they told me, you know, oh, Kings Island's not as atmospheric as some other parks. So, you know, I wasn't expecting much in that department, but let me say, I really loved it. Like, when you first enter Kings Island, you come to the beautiful Eiffel Tower, and they're beautiful, like...
The fountain pond was absolutely beautiful, picturesque. The very culturally integrated park. You have decorations from different countries, different native flags all over, leading up to the Eiffel Tower, which is in the center, and that is the starting viewpoint where you can scan the rest of the park. We didn't get a chance to go up to the Eiffel Tower.
No, we didn't.
But
it was running though.
It was running. I've been up on the one at King's Dominion, so this one I assume was very similar, and I could tell you from the one at King's Dominion, definitely worth going up to get some views. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, like, let me tell you guys, one thing that I also really loved about Kings Island is, now I can't speak of this, but I want to say that Kings Island has a better lineup of roller coasters than King's Dominion, one of the other parks.
That I might have to disagree with you there. That might be our first disagreement of this video.
Alright, yeah. I mean, what I personally loved about Kings Island, they had an amazing lineup of rides, as I said. You know, they've got the all-new Orion Giga Coaster. Now, before I get into that, Orion is no Fury 325.
No.
But it wasn't supposed to be a Fury 325.
Right.
So, I mean, like, but still, like, it's an incredible addition to the park, even though this was my first time visiting. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Giga Coaster.
I mean, well, if Orion was as good as Fury 325, then I would agree that Kings Island has a better coaster lineup than King's Dominion. But the main flaw with Kings Island's coaster lineup is there is no standout number one.
No.
You know, there is no truly elite coaster. They have four really good coasters. It's a great, very deep coaster lineup. Usually, after you get past the first two, you're like, you know, everything else here is okay. No, their coaster lineup goes 4 deep. There are 4 really good coasters. They can have a lot of fun on.
Oh, of course. I mean, like, let me tell you, they've got, like, my new favorite inverted roller coaster, Banshee. As I mentioned in my previous videos before coming to Kings Island, Great Bear was my favorite. Not anymore. Sorry, Great Bear, I still love you, but Banshee has taken your place.
Banshee is the king. Banshee is my new favorite B&M invert as well. It was, wow. Everything about a B&M invert, this thing got completely correct. They mastered it.
That first drop, though, man, my stomach, like, turned, like, every single time.
Absolutely. It was a completely masterful layout. It was forceful. The pacing was good. I think
better use of elements than some other inverts.
Yes, yeah, and that's the problem with a lot of inverts is that they have these weird straight track sections. They seem to be meandering at certain points. Banshee really used its space well.
Yeah, I mean,
it fit in every element perfectly into what it had to work with.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, another great coaster that they had there is, you know, they have Diamondback, which is a B&M hyper ride.
Yes.
Now, Candymonium is my new favorite B&M hyper ride still, but I will say Diamondback is a very close second.
I still need more time to digest Diamondback. Now, I got the first row ride at the end of the day, because me and you got the...
We got the middle row.
We got the middle row.
That provided some really good airtime in the beginning.
Although the floater in the first row was very strong. Was better in the first row, in the first half of the ride. Now, the second half of the ride, once you hit the mid-course brake run, it's kind of over in the front row. It was kind of over in the back row where we sat too. But I think I definitely would recommend sitting front row for Diamondback. Overall, it's a hard ride to judge because the second half not being as strong, now all of a sudden it's kind of, only half complete.
Yeah, I mean, like, now that's why I think Candymonium is better than Diamondback, because, Candymonium has 2 trim brakes, but the lack of a mid-course brake run really adds to its duration. It's momentum, it's flowing.
Yeah.
Because, once you hit that mid-course brake run on Diamondback, the ride really slows down for the worse. Now, I'm really bummed to announce that apparently that used to not be there when it was made, but later on in its lifespan, they decided to add a mid-course brake run, I guess for maintenance reasons.
Yeah.
But it was still a solid ride. I think the Hammerhead turn was a little bit more intense than Candymonium's, and a lot of other Hammerhead turns
that's what I
found
would
on B&M
definitely say.
Hypers.
Last ride I got in the day, in the first row, very intense for that first half. It was the perfect blend of intensity and floater airtime for B&M Hypers. So that for me really touched upon what I was looking for out of the ride. But again, with the second half not really living up to snuff, I don't really know I'm still digesting it. I still need more time to think about it, honestly.
But other than that though, Back is a really, really, really good B&M Hyper. Better than Nitro, I think better than Intimidator at Carowinds.
Yeah, definitely better than Intimidator.
But I still think Candymonium is #1 for me. Some will disagree with me.
Yeah, I Nitro, Candymonium, Diamondback are all in a similar spot for me. It's hard for me to rank them.
Well, now, I don't want to get off track with this, but the reason I think Candymonium is better than Nitro and Diamondback is because, the lack of the mid-course brake runs and, the hills on Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure, they slow the ride down. Yeah, it goes 80 miles per hour. Yeah, its height is 230 feet with, a 215-foot drop or so. I don't know, it's just like on Nitro, every hill you go up, it has no use of floater airtime.
Yeah.
It has, the mid-course brake run, of course, doesn't do anything but ruin it like it does for a lot of rides. But, for maintenance reasons, they can be required.
I'm gonna jump in here and defend Nitro. Now, Nitro's airtime is
a little lackluster.
Yeah, I mean, it's well known in the coaster community to be almost non-existent. People really hate on Nitro. A lot of enthusiasts rank Nitro at the bottom below basically everything.
Every other B&M Hyper.
Which I find to be a little harsh. It's definitely at least middle of the pack. I've always liked Nitro. I used to love Nitro before I became an enthusiast, but even after, kind of learning more about what I liked as an enthusiast and, figuring out, what airtime was and, laterals and
all
intensity.
Those elements.
Yeah, even after I figured out all of the variables that go into a good ride, I still liked Nitro. I never disliked Nitro.
Oh, I like the ride too. It's
it's a nice long ride. It has good pacing. None of these particular elements are that forceful, but the layout is a good layout. I definitely think that Nitro has one of the better layouts. Out and back into the double helix, and then you come and you do 4. But there's a lot of other B&M Hypers that have a little bit of a funky layout. They'll have a single helix and come back, and then they'll do a second I'm like, no. Nitro kind of packed it all perfectly. It just didn't really work out, the floater airtime, but I still like it.
It is still a good ride, though.
I gotta jump in and
But
say that.
other good rides that Kings Island has to offer is Mystic Timbers. That's a really good woody coaster.
Mystic Timbers on the
Check that out, people.
Yeah.
Mystic Timbers. Way better than their iconic coaster, the Beast.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Ooh,
I was very
Beast is
disappointed.
bad.
I was very disappointed with the Beast, and I know it's an icon. It's a lot of people still consider that a top tier woody by today's standards. I respectfully disagree. I mean, we rode in the back. That was the only ride I got. I want to really ride it again after I got off it. Let me tell you, it was brutal.
And I think I don't, I can't really say if the riding in the front would have made a difference, but I have to imagine it wouldn't have been as bad in the front, although it still probably would have been rough. I mean, it's just, 43 years is a long time for a coaster.
Oh man,
especially for a wooden
after
coaster.
that second chain lift, and the coaster was tilting to the side. It didn't look like it was designed to tilt like that.
The final double helix through the tunnels was just
painful.
Jackhammering to the brain. Just maybe the worst thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, I know, right? I got like a punch in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like going down that, and I was like,
Yeah,
ow. And then
yeah.
like I was just like, when we got out of the tunnel, I was like, please tell me this ride is over.
Yeah.
That is not like me. As of today, the Beast is the only roller coaster I would probably never ride again.
Although comment in the, post in the comments below if the front row is better. We want to know. We're honestly curious. But I mean, we're just assuming it's rough in any row because that was horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but that's what's like, but Kings Island, they offer, like, they have great coasters. They don't have, like, any terrible coasters. Their worst one is honestly the Beast. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I know it's an icon, but honestly, like, I was just very disappointed with it.
Right, and I think the rest of the coasters are, but going back to Mystic Timbers, this is what I believe is the best coaster in the park. I think Banshee is really good. Banshee was a close second, but Mystic Timbers, this was a coaster that I feel had I think it had the best pacing of the coasters we went on. It had a very interesting blend of speed hills and floater hills, and it worked them in, it interspersed them really, really well. And I thought the overall ride experience was close to, I don't want to say close to perfect, but
it was way more smoother than the Beast.
It was way smoother than the Beast. Right, that's another thing. It was one of the smoothest wooden coasters I've ever been on. I think the only wooden coaster I can for sure say was smoother is Lightning Rod. Because even the Voyage was kind of rough in spots.
Nowhere near as brutal as the Beast.
No, but even like just compared to Mystic Timbers, like the Voyage, I love the Voyage, but the Voyage is rough in spots. El Toro is horrible in the second half. Mystic Timbers was very smooth throughout, and it was fun. The airtime wasn't extreme. So if you're looking for extreme airtime, Mystic Timbers isn't, what you're looking for. But it was fun. It had a lot of airtime throughout, and it had a lot of consistent airtime throughout. I think, you're looking at a very fun ride, but you're not looking at something crazy.
No. So I mean, like, moreover on the rides, like they've got little mini games, they've got some good flat rides, they got some good drop towers. I didn't get to go on any of the drop towers because I was too hot to go on it because it was so brutal today when we went. Let me tell you. But other families I think would enjoy that, and from what I've heard from Skyrush Warrior and the rest of the crew, it was a good flat ride.
I liked it. It was fun. I've been on a lot of drop towers, so it's nothing special. It definitely wasn't anything worse than what I was used to. It kind of just lived up to the standards that I would hold the drop tower to. Yeah.
Yeah, and but also so about the pricing at Kings Island. The food prices. I felt they weren't too bad. I mean, they gave you free water.
Yeah. Well,
they also
free water with the cup.
So yeah, like as I said, you get free water with the cups. And I think it's a good way to stay hydrated because like while it's extremely hot out there, you're going to need it. Like I can't tell you how many times I had to sit inside to like just go cool off.
Yeah.
So
we got you get the refillable bottles, $16, and you get free refills all day. So I definitely think it's a good investment because especially if you're buying water, you're paying $4 a bottle at least. I don't even know what it was. I didn't have to buy a bottle, thankfully, but I'm assuming it's at least $4 for a water bottle there. So definitely a good investment, for all day free refills.
Yeah, and how was the food? How much was the food by any chance? Because I didn't buy anything.
Oh, God, the food, we ate at the barbecue place. You get an entree and then you get one side. So you can get chicken, you get pulled pork, you get ribs.
You get corn.
You could choose one. Corn was one of the sides.
It was a side.
Corn was a side, right? Yeah. So you can either get chicken, pulled pork, or ribs as your main course, and then you get one side. If you want a second side, which most of us did, you have to pay extra. So I think it came out to a little over $20 for my meal, which isn't terrible
for a theme park price. I mean, like I paid worse at Great Adventure.
Right, exactly. So that's definitely steep compared to your average pricing, but when you're talking about theme park pricing, that's basically what you
hard
should
to come by that kind of deal.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
Yeah, and so the pricing is like pretty fair for the rides for like not only just the merchandise, but for the food, the drinks. You know,
Yeah.
all that. And then there's also, of course, ways to save money. You know, like you could bring like your own portable grill in the car or truck. You could bring your own lunch that you can leave in the car and like make sure it's like in a cooler or whatever. You know, just ways like to visit a park without like having to make sure you have so much money on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
So also the last thing I want to go over before the verdict is how are they handling this during the pandemic?
Yes.
Well, during this pandemic, you know, I thought they were handling it quite well. They were telling everybody to like wear their masks. They didn't even want your nose sticking out. Like every time I talk, my mask would pull down. They'd be like, "Sir, pull your mask back up. Pull your mask back up."
I mean, frankly, it was a little annoying, but you know, definitely
it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. So they definitely were being very responsible. They will not sell you a ride. What I like to do a lot of times is I like to take my mask off for the ride after the train leaves the station, because I just don't like wearing my mask on the ride. Call it irresponsible if you want, you know, maybe it is. But it's just something that I like to do. They will not sell you a ride photo though if your mask is not on. It's something to think about if you're somebody who also likes to take their mask off for the ride.
And you want to collect
a ride photo, yes. You may want to leave it on for the ride that you want to get the photo for. You know, because I ended up, you know, I forgot on Mystic Timbers my second time around, and I ended up not being able to get the ride photo for Mystic Timbers, so I had to get it for Diamondback instead, which was fine. But you know, I almost forgot on Diamondback too. My friend had to remind me. He's like, "Don't take your mask off." I was like, "Thanks, dude. I almost forgot."
But yeah, I mean, like Kings Island, you know, I think they're handling it quite well. I mean, they're definitely handling this better than some other parks.
Way better than some other parks. This is a Cedar Fair chain park, so they're definitely going to be more restrictive. And you know, they're definitely going to have more safety protocols in place because it's a big chain, and you know they have a.
And Ohio is spiking as is.
Right, exactly. But they have a reputation to maintain, and they have a business that they need to keep going. So you know, definitely, I'm not surprised at all. And it definitely did make me feel a little more comfortable than some of the other parts. We're going to Kentucky Kingdom tomorrow. We're very nervous that they're not going to be doing very much at all in terms of safety precautions. But yeah.
So anyway, what the final verdict for this park is on a scale of 1 to 10. You know, I think I would give Kings Island. So I mean, but yeah, I would give Kings Island 8 out of 10.
I don't know. I would give it up 7 for now.
All right, so we can agree to disagree on this situation.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I definitely liked. I would recommend, you know, taking a bit of a drive to get there. If you're within 12 hours, do it. You know, if you're longer than 12 hours, then you maybe have to take a plane ride. Don't rush. Especially not now. Don't take plane rides unless you absolutely have to in these times. But I would say it's worth it if it's not too inconvenient.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, as far as like Cedar Fair chains go, this is definitely one of the better parks that Cedar Fair owns.
Yeah, in probably the top 4 or 5 out of the 11 that they have. So, you know, this is definitely in the upper tier.
Well, guys, you know, that I think does it for this review video. I hope you enjoyed my review companion, Skyrush Warrior.
Yes.
Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you all later. All right, guys?
Thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks for joining me.
All right.